I spent 29 years in federal law enforcement, 4 years in the Air Force, 12 years in the Secret Service Uniform Division, and 13 years as a federal air marshal. Today I'm talking to you about cover and concealment. What that means, we're going to use a vehicle as an example and talk about what Hollywood tries to tell you what reality is, and I'm going to tell you what real reality is. Cover is something you hide behind that you believe will stop a bullet. Concealment is just something that obstructs somebody's view of you. I can hide behind a wooden door, I'm concealing myself. I can hide behind that same wooden door, but it won't probably stop a bullet. A lot of times you see in Hollywood movies where somebody gets behind a vehicle and all of a sudden they're safe. They can reload their gun or talk on their cell phone or whatever it is they do in the movie. This is a Chevrolet truck. It's made of steel. The ideal, this side of this truck won't even stop a 9mm bullet. It'll go through both sides. Now I tell you this not because it might happen. It could happen. I guarantee you, even something like a 9mm bullet will go right through this. When you see in the movies and people taking cover behind a vehicle, I'm not saying don't. If you're in some situation and somebody's shooting at you, getting behind a vehicle is better than nothing. But instead of getting behind here where the fender with just this sheet metal, how about I get behind this part of the vehicle? It's still sheet metal, but then I have this big tire. I have an axle that goes all the way through. There's these big metal brackets underneath. That may be something that stops a bullet better. Certainly I want to crouch down and get my weight low. And if I move further forward, the best place if you're using a vehicle to conceal yourself in a gunfight or use it as cover in a gunfight, excuse me, is the front of the vehicle. And as we move towards the front of the vehicle, this is a four-wheel drive truck, so that means it has a big axle up front too, just like the rear axle. And then you have what's inside this is that big engine. And if somebody's shooting in front of me, at me from that direction, I want to get behind this engine block, I want to get low, and I want to get behind this tire. And there's all kinds of steel I'm looking at in here to help stop a bullet or deflect a bullet. This is what you have to understand. Nothing lasts forever. So this is very important. I'll say it one more time. Nothing, when it's being shot at, everything deteriorates. Now, steel just gets holes punched through it. You see sometimes people hide behind a cement wall. One of the common things we use to protect certain areas temporarily are these jersey barriers. I'm sure you've seen them. They're called jersey barriers. They're cement. They're about 18 inches at the bottom and anywhere between 6 and 9 inches at the top. They will stop a bullet. They'll stop probably the first one. But if you shot it at one of those jersey barriers with something chambered in 308 or 7.62 NATO, that wall will deteriorate quickly. I've seen it. Cinder blocks deteriorate very quickly. Poured cement lasts a little bit longer, but nothing lasts forever. So if you're ever in a gunfight, don't think you can hide behind anything forever. Be ready to move to your next point and return fire. But nothing lasts forever when you're hiding behind it. It will deteriorate no matter what it's made of. Especially if somebody's shooting at you with 7.62, semi-automatic or automatic. It's amazing how fast heavy steel reinforced cement will deteriorate. Vehicles are fine if that's what's available, but don't get caught up in this Hollywood mentality where somebody gets behind. As an example, I'm going to move back here a little bit. If somebody shot through this vehicle from the other side with just a 9mm handgun, it would go through both sides. Let me put it to you this way. Make sure you understand it can go through both sides. Is it possible that 9mm hits the steel bar in here? It is possible. But it's also possible that it misses the steel bar, rips through 2 pieces of sheet metal, 3 pieces of plastic, and hits you. Anything more powerful than that, it probably won't even slow it down. High speed, especially rifle ammunition, 223, 7.62 is very high speed. It rips through metal. When you hear people use the term bulletproof, in your mind, think of everything as bullet resistant. And when it comes to vehicles, it's not like Hollywood makes it sound. Of course, glass will shatter right away. Can a glass deflect a bullet? Yeah, it's possible, but it's not, it's not likely. Don't depend on it to save your life. The question is what lasts longer, and there's really not a good answer to that because it all depends on what situation you're in. If you get out of a car with a handgun and somebody has an M1 Garand, the scenario changes. Now they have a very high-powered, accurate rifle, and you have a handgun. Now, the person who most likely to win is the person who gets the first round up on target into the chest or into the head. Where I'm standing now, I've got this large vehicle. I have 2 brick or stone buildings, solid stone buildings on either side. I would get behind one of these stone buildings, but that stone building is not going to last forever, depending on how long the firefight lasts. So if you're going to hide behind a vehicle, hide behind the engine block. That's where the biggest steel is. That's where you have your longest survival rate. And then get ready to move or end the gunfight. You win.